What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video I'm just going to be going over the best running shoe brand for new runners, beginner runners, in my opinion, but I'm going to back it up with, you know, facts and stuff like that. So let's get into this. So as a lot of you might know, I train and race in a shoe that goes by the name of Altra, or Ultra, however you want to say it. It's, imagine if you had the word Ultra spelled with an A. That is the shoe that I use, and I use it for many reasons, which I will go into, and I'll give you sort of why I prefer it to the traditional running shoe, just because I do believe that it's designed better, but specifically for new runners, and I guess all runners, but mostly new runners that are sort of getting into it, and then you haven't got the greatest form or stuff like that, your body's not used to it. These, I think, are the best shoes for you to give you the best start essentially to your running. So I'll show you right now. This is my just mileage shoe, the Ultra Escalante 2. The 2.5 is out at the moment, but I'll just stick to this. As you can see, it's a bit worn down, but still you get a lot of miles out of these, by the way. I think I made a video on these before. I got like 2,000 something miles out of them. This is my racing flat. Sorry that it's dirty. It's the Ultra Escalante Racer. It's just the really nice, light, sort of quite thin, flexible, I guess, shoe. Not too much special about how it looks. There is definitely more aesthetically pleasing shoes, but I want to get into why I would say these shoes, in my opinion, are the best shoes for new runners and beginner runners. So firstly, compared to traditional shoes like Nike shoes, you tend to have a really thick heel, and then the foot, sort of like toe box, forefoot area, will be more like this, and obviously with that there's the heel to toe drops. Essentially with this, because it's zero drop, which is the feature I like, you're landing flat constantly, if that makes sense. Whereas with the traditional Nike shoe, you've got that bit of, it's not flat and it's more up like that, so there'll be obviously a bit more heel there. So you get what I'm saying, there is a heel to toe drop of some form, whether it be 4mm, 8mm, 12mm, or even 1, do you know what I mean? So them shoes, I mean, if they work for people, they work for people, but in my opinion, they are quite bad, just because if you imagine your foot landed flat like this, in a shoe like this, that is possible. However, in a shoe that's got a big heel, you're landing sort of almost like this, because you've got that heel underneath your foot. So whenever you land, yeah, you might land flat footed, but you're not. You're sort of on your tiptoes a little bit, as if you're wearing, I imagine, it's high heels. If that makes sense, your foot is going to be at that angle, and that's obviously an unnatural angle which your feet just aren't meant to be at, and it can cause damage over time, especially if you're repeating that action, because they're in an unnatural position. So that repetitive stress is going to cause a problem, because it's just not meant, like biomechanically we don't function like that. So that's the first reasoning. Second reasoning, also with these, if you try to heel strike, it's going to end bad, because there's no heel there to protect you, do you know what I mean? You can't heel strike. Like if you were to run barefoot, you wouldn't be able to heel strike, because there's just nothing there to take the cushioning, because it's not how you're meant to run. So that's the second reasoning. And the third reasoning, I would say, is if you notice how thin this is, it's probably like a finger thick. Bear in mind these are racing flats, but there's only 2mm difference between this sole and my other shoe down there, which is the mileage shoe. So the reason that, you know, that the sole is so thin is important is because, if you don't know, your feet are designed to take impact when you're running, and take the load and the force of hitting the floor from the rest of your body and your leg. And when you wear shoes, I noticed this because I got my first injury with shoes when I was wearing the Nike Zoom Fly and some Hoka shoes. When you have like really thick soles, that impact isn't taken by your feet, and it's directed up towards your knee and your upper leg, causing knee issues and injuries. Most people don't recognise this because they don't understand the biomechanics of how your body works, but that's not necessarily their problem. We just get marketed these Nike shoes and stuff and get told that they're the best thing for you, when it's not necessarily true. So them few reasons, I do have one more, but them just reasons alone, they're gonna basically allow you to run with good form, I guess, and you're going to be landing properly how you should be, which leads to good form obviously, but it reduces the risk of injury because you're not running unnaturally and the stress is sort of going where it should on your legs and where it should on your body. And the next reason, to sort of conclude this, if you take a look at the toe box, it is kind of wide. Basically with this toe box you can splay your toes like that. So if you don't know, when you run barefoot, not that barefoot running is the greatest thing to do, but we're basing this on like science and just human biomechanics, how we function, how we're naturally meant to work. When you land, when you're running, your toes do splay a little bit, not fully like that, but do you get what I'm saying? So due to the toe splaying, that these shoes allow you to do that basically, and it means that you're just running as naturally as possible but with a shoe on. Whereas I find that traditional Nike shoes, especially the spikes are terrible. They cramp your foot up, not like your foot is just like that, literally your toes, you've got no space to move and it just puts your foot in an unnatural position, and I just think it's terrible. And especially for new runners that aren't used to just running in general, it's going to set you up for problems later down the line, injury. So for all them reasons, I just believe that the shoe allows you to run how you're naturally meant to run, which leads to good form, which obviously prevents injuries, but in turn it does actually make you somewhat a faster runner, because if you can run with good form, you're running more efficiently. If you're running more efficiently, you can run basically with less energy wasted and less energy expended. So essentially you can go quicker using less energy because you're running so efficiently that you're not wasting energy in stupid things like how you're landing, like if you're heel striking or just stuff like that. It's little things but they all add up to the bigger picture. So yeah, those are my reasonings for thinking that these are the best shoes for new runners and beginner runners, just because it's going to set you up for the best possible sort of start to running, in terms of getting that like not muscle memory, but with running it's all about practice makes perfect. If you run with good form, your form develops over time and you just become a better runner essentially. But if you start off with bad form, then that is gonna like hinder you essentially long term, but also you're gonna constantly get injured, and it's something that you can't just get rid of. You have to change it or it's just gonna keep reoccurring. Another reason I just want to say quickly, I didn't actually think of this, if you're new around here then you won't know, but the people that do, there has been time periods where I would run over 100 miles a week, up to 100 miles a week consistently, like 80-90 miles a week. This week alone I'm going to be doing 75, last week I did 70, this is just the base period. I just want to say, if the shoe wasn't as good as I make it out to be and good for your form, I just simply wouldn't be able to do that and I'd be getting injured, because to be able to run the mileage I do, you need to have good running form. Sorry, my hair is, I just come back from a run, I can't help it. But yeah, you need to have good running form to be able to do the mileage I do. So if I'm not proof that these shoes are the best thing for you, I don't know what is. I'm not saying go and buy them, it's your decision, but I'm just letting you know my experiences and what I think of the shoe. I have been running these shoes for at least 2 years now and I've never looked back. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll let you decide if you want to agree with me, disagree. I'd like to know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, see you in the next one.